Hey guys, and welcome to the Farm and Pastor's Wife. Tonight we're having persimmon pudding for dessert. Caroline's favorite. I'm going to tell you all about persimmon pudding. Hey guys, and thank you for watching the Farm and Pastor's Wife. Yes, I'm back, and I have makeup on today, and I actually feel quite human. Today we're making, as you've already heard, we're making a persimmon pudding. What is persimmon pudding, you might ask? Well, it's a tree that's found, and I don't know where it's found from. I know it's here in the Piedmont, North Carolina, and I think it's pretty much up and down the East Coast, and it goes as far as probably Texas. How many people make persimmon pudding? I don't know, but let me show you what a persimmon and persimmon tree looks like. Come on, let's go. Okay guys, we're out here in my front yard. Now, we have several persimmon trees, and most of them are in our cow pasture. And you don't, I'm in mud. You don't want to pick up a lot of persimmons out of the cow pasture for obvious reasons. But this tree, it came in really early, and these are beautiful. These are actually so pretty, but they came in early. It was when I was not doing real well, and I did not get out here to get them picked up. There's a big seed in the middle, and it's a lot of work to get the pulp out of these persimmons. It's a lot of work, and I just did not have it in me this year. But thank goodness for a good church family. I had church family bring me some persimmons, and I also had some bring me some persimmon pulp already mashed out, and persimmons are delicious if you get them when they're ripe. Don't you dare eat a green one. They're awful. But let me show you, if I can. It looks like a dead tree. That tree, I hope you can see it. I'm not sure. That tree is a persimmon tree. And there's just a few left on it. I mean, just a few. There's not a leaf anywhere. But there's just a few persimmons. But you don't pick them off the tree. You pick them off the ground. And as a little girl, my job was to shake the tree, because they're usually fairly small trees. And I would shake the tree, and we'd watch where they fell, and we'd pick them up. Oh, it still hurts to get up and down. But here is a persimmon. This is a perfect persimmon. It is good and soft, and it comes with a little cap on it. Now, the ones you see in the grocery store are the Japanese persimmons, and they're like huge. And so in this is some sweet pulp, really sweet. And there's a seed in there, a big seed. And the seed, supposedly, this old wives' tales is if you cut the seed open, there's either a knife or a spoon in the seed, in the middle of the seed. And if it looks like a knife, it means it's going to be cold and frigid, and the wind and windy, and it'll cut like a knife. And if you have a spoon, that means that you're going to have a lot of snow that winter. You know, I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway. So there, that dead tree up there is my, well, there's two here side by side of my persimmon trees. And then, like I said, I have a bunch more out in the cow pasture. But for obvious reasons, we don't pick up around those. I did have one that it was a pasture we didn't have the cows in that I could have used, but for some reason those were really teeny tiny, and I just didn't feel like it this year. So while I'm out here in the outside in my front yard, let me show you something else. Okay, so I'm pretty much standing almost in the road, not quite. That is my house behind us, and I'm getting close to the road. But here is our driveway. This is the dirt road we live on. And hang on, it's going to take me a minute because I'm slow going. I'll show you some exciting things happening. Okay guys, so I'm walking up the dirt road just so you see where we're at. There is my house. This is our orchard. Our plans for the orchard is to put a lot of fruit trees out here. This land right here with the woods is my daughter and son-in-law's lot. And just so I can show you, I know you're interested in persimmon pudding, but let me just share with you some exciting news going on with us. I hear somebody coming down the dirt road. Look who's coming down the dirt road. It's my husband and somebody behind him. This is where we have started working on Caroline's driveway for her future house that she is really excited about. We hope this time next year she'll be in it. Now let's get to that persimmon pudding. Okay guys, so that's the exciting news going on in our life right now. So let's get started on this persimmon pudding. Oh, let me tell you too, by the way, Bryant has been an amazing nurse and caregiver, and being sure he brought me my food, my coffee. He takes such great care of me. But there's one thing, this is the first day I've really felt like being up and about at all. I did go on that trip, but that did me in. But so today I have felt pretty good. But let me just go ahead and tell you, the house has not been cleaned in like 2.5 weeks. So you may see crumbs on the floor, you may see grease on the wall, you may see some trash overflowing, but it will get clean tomorrow. Bryant, bless his heart, he's good at everything, but he just does not know, how to clean the house. So that's it. Look, here's my Judah bug right here. I hope he's going to be here to lick the bowl when I'm done, because that was always my job as a little girl, was to lick the bowl. So let me get this persimmon pudding put together for you guys. Uh-oh, can you pick that up for Bubbles? Thank you, buddy.
Here you go.
Thank you. Y'all, this is my mother's recipe in her handwriting. I have 2 recipes of hers for the persimmon pudding. This is one she wrote later on, and I think it's probably after she perfected it a little bit. So this is the one I'm going with. This is the one I'm going with. The other one was in my kindergarten book. So where the parents went in together and made a little recipe book, and they covered it with like wallpaper and tied it with strings. Hey Caroline, Judah's in my cabinet. He likes to get in my cabinets. Okay, in my bowl here I've got 2 3/4 cups of sugar. Not sugar. 2 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, and I'm going in with a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Calls for salt. I don't use salt because I use salted butter, so I'm not going to put the salt in. We're also going to go in here with 1 3/4 cup of sugar. 1 3/4 cup of sugar. I'm going to move my normal. 1 and 3/4 cup of sugar. All right. Now we're just going to mix all this together, whisk it all together. Now my mama's measurements on this recipe are a little odd. Like they're like almost 2 cups or almost 3 cups, but anyway. So now we're going to go in with a cup of buttermilk. A cup of buttermilk going in. And here's another little oddity of this recipe. I'm going in with 1/3 of a cup of sweet milk. And my pulp is so juicy, I probably could leave this out, but I'm going to put it in anyway. 1/3 of a cup of sweet milk, which is just regular. I'm using 2%. Okay. Now, let me get my vanilla out. Okay, guys, I just put a tablespoon of vanilla in here. I'm going in with 2 eggs that I have beaten up. And as my normal, I'm not completely prepared, but would I be Leslie if I was? So, I'm going to put on the stove, I'm going to melt 1 stick of butter. So after, we're going to get this stick of butter melted, and I'll be going in here with that. Okay, guys, because I don't want to cook my eggs that I've beaten up in here, which they're pretty mixed in, so I don't think they will. This is the 3 cups of persimmon. So I'm going to kind of just pour them both at the same time. Starting with the persimmon pulp. There we go. Alright, now I'm just going to mix this up really good. That was 3 cups of persimmon pulp. I think most persimmon pudding recipes call for 2 cups. My mama's always called for 3 cups. So, that's what we're going with, is 3 cups. And you get this beautiful, light, beigey batter, liquidy batter with little brown flecks that's coming from the pulp, the persimmon, because you leave the skin on and everything, and you have to mash it through this cone-shaped colander with a wooden mallet. You run around, and it squishes out all the goodness, and so, you know, pieces of the skin. All right. Now, let me get my pan and oven ready, and we'll get this thing in the oven. Okay, guys, first let me tell you, now is the time if you want to add seasoning to here, like cinnamon, nutmeg, anything like that, now's the time to do it. I don't put anything but vanilla in mine. I like a plain persimmon pudding. A lot of people I know, in fact, most persimmon puddings I have tasted all have some kind of spice in it. My sweet potato pies do not have spice, nor does my persimmon pudding. So, that being said, if you like a little cinnamon, now's the time to put it. I love cinnamon, I just don't want it in my persimmon pudding. But that's to each his own. That's just preference. Now, let's talk about recipes. This is the one I normally make of my mom's. This is not the one we made today. This is the one that was in my kindergarten book. It still has 3 cups of pulp, 1.5 cups of just sweet milk. It did not have buttermilk. 2 eggs, a tablespoon of vanilla, 2 cups of sugar, a stick of butter, and 2.5 cups of flour. That's all they called for in this one. This one, I don't know that I've ever made this one. I found this one in my notebook of things that my mom had written in her later years out for me to have. And so I just assumed today that maybe this is one she had perfected through the years and wanted me to have. So I was going to try to make this one. So we're going to see. If this one does not turn out like our normal persimmon puddings, then I will do another video with my kindergarten persimmon pudding. But otherwise, we're going to keep going with this one. I'll show you this one because it may be good. But they are so different, even to the baking times. The easy one that I just read you from my kindergarten book, she has it baking for 1 hour at 300. This one, she has bake at 325 for 1.5 hours. So, what we're going to do is we're going to do 325 for 1 hour. I'm going to check it at 1 hour, and we're going to see where we are at that point in time. So, since I'm not going to add cinnamon, since I'm not going to add any nutmeg or anything, let's go ahead. This is my well-used cake pan. You can see that it's well-used. I'm just going to spray a little bit of baking spray in there. And that's actually not baking spray. That's just canola oil. And we're going to put this glorious, glorious pudding in this pan. Oh my goodness. And y'all, let me go ahead and tell you a sweet little story. Judah had to leave, so he's not going to get to do it. But I guarantee you, the next persimmon pudding I make, he will. This is the house I was raised in. And over at the door that comes in from the porch into the kitchen, there is a little stoop over there. A little step. Just one little step. And my back porch is always kind of like a muddy area because that's where we come in from the farm. So it's kind of dirty out there. So I don't ever show you that part. But as a little girl, I would sit on that step and lick the bowl. The persimmon pudding bowl. That was my favorite part of persimmon pudding. So that was what I was hoping Judah was going to get to do today, is to sit on the stoop that I sat on as a little girl and lick the bowl. But they had to leave. So we won't do it today, but we will the next time I make a persimmon pudding. So anyway, I'm just waiting for the oven to preheat. I'm going to stick it in, and I'll bring you back when I test it in 1 hour. We'll see where it's at in 1 hour. And we'll test it then, and going in. So 325. I'm going in here for 1 hour, and we will test it at 1 hour and see if it needs to stay in any longer. 60 minutes. All right, we'll bring you back in just a little bit. Okay guys, there is our persimmon pudding. My mom was right. It did take 1 hour and a half. And we're going to see if I like this recipe as good as I like her easy one. So we'll let you know as soon as it cools off. Okay guys, Caroline is our persimmon pudding girl, and it is still warm, so it fell apart with me trying to get it out of the... So it normally comes out in a square, but it's still hot. So she's going to try it for us.
Nobody makes it quite like she does.
Good persimmon pudding. I'm not sure which recipe of my mom's I like best, so the next one I make, I'll make with her easy recipe. So we'll try that. This one did get just a little bit done around the edges.
But that's the best part.
But that is the best part, the chewy part. All right, there you have it. Persimmon pudding. Is it a thumbs up, Caroline? 2 thumbs up. Okay, thank you guys for watching The Farm and Pastor's Wife. Judah's fussing because he wants a bite.
Come here.
So just remember, if the grease is hot enough, you can fry anything.